Didn't you know that you were loved? Didn't you know that you were chosen? Didn't you know that you were beautiful? Didn't you know that you were enough? Be Real thinks you're kind of dope too. Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk today with another moment in the meantime.
Hey, it is your girl Be Real. Thank you so much for joining me for another moment in the meantime. I pray that your day has gotten off to an amazing start. And if it has not, it's okay because you still got some more time left in the day for everything to be exactly what you're hoping it's going to be. That is my prayer for you. So I hope that you're doing okay. Since the last time that we chatted, a lot has happened. So much has happened in the world. Yeah. Like so much has happened, and I'm sure, you can look at the world and know, definitely so much has gone on, between, trying to, petition justice for, George Floyd's murder, and really seeing, the revolution that is taking place, whether you agree on the methods or not. The fact is, the world has been riled up about something that has been going on, in the Black community for, too long. So, there's a whole revolution taking place, and I am proud, so proud to be a Black woman right now. So proud to love Black men right now. I'm just excited about what's happening. It's ridiculous that it's happening, but at the same time, the revolution that's taking place, the attention that's being brought to the recurring issue of police brutality is something that I am very, very, very excited about. So, it's been a lot going on, right? I'm sure y'all watch the news. If you don't watch the news, I'm sure you be on Facebook, Insta, something. So you do know what's going on in our country. And so, I wasn't going to jump here now, but since I'm here, I did hop on a Facebook Live a few nights ago just to kind of, encourage you if a lot of this is triggering, worry or anxiety in you. I want to encourage you to take a step back if you need to. Don't consume it all if it's making you, if it's freaking you out, just everything that's going on. Take a step back. You don't have to consume it all. Just try to take a step back. If you're trying to figure out your place in the Black Lives Matter movement, my suggestion is that you would pray and ask God how he wants you to move where this is concerned. I wholeheartedly believe that everybody has a lane. You know what I mean? Everybody got a lane. Everybody ain't meant for the front lines. If you are meant for the front lines, then that's where you need to be. But there are so many ways to support the movement, and it just takes a little research to find out how you can support. You got people who need to be out in the streets protesting. There are people who are keeping us informed on social media or on their different platforms. You got people who are donating to certain organizations, and there are just ways to support. There's so many different ways to support, and my suggestion is that you would find your lane. But if you can't find a lane, if you don't know how to support or don't want to support, then my biggest suggestion would be that you just stay out the way. You know what I mean? So that's about as nice as I can say that. Either support or stay out of the way. So yeah, so much has been going on, right? Between that, I want to remind everybody that COVID-19 is still a thing. It is still a thing. My sister is a healthcare professional, and she sees firsthand that it is still a thing. So if you value anything that I say, you know, I mean, you listening, so that might mean you might be a little invested in my opinion. So I would just definitely just tell you just to stay mindful that COVID-19, it is a thing. Yeah, we just praying out here. We praying that God will help us and just really keep us and be with us. My dad always tells us something, you know, when you do what you can, then God will do what you cannot do. So, hey, keep those masks on. If you got to go out in public, keep that 6 feet distance. If you got to be out, don't be out if you don't got to be out. But if you got to be out, then be out cautiously, like still maintain that safety. Don't just get loose out here, you know what I'm saying? So that's my PSA for the episode. But look, seriously, between those two major things going on in the world, somewhere between all of there, I turned 32. Your girl had a birthday. It was last Monday, and I actually didn't do an episode. And in my heart, I meant to have made preparation so that there would have still been an episode come out, but yeah, my family came to town and I was just excited. I ain't do nothing. I was like, nah, we ain't doing nothing. My mom and daddy was here, and my sister came, and my nieces, and my man friend was here, and I was just around the people that I love the most in life. And you know, I didn't want to do nothing, so we didn't do no birthday episode or nothing. But happy birthday to your girl, okay? It's not too late to wish me a happy birthday. I will be celebrating the entire month of June, the entire summer. Like, why not? But yeah, I turned 32 somewhere between all of that, and it was probably the best birthday I've ever had. I was completely unsure of what this birthday would bring, but it was absolutely amazing. To those of you who did get a chance to wish me a happy birthday, whether you text me, email me, or posted on my Facebook wall, commented on a picture, however you wished me a happy birthday, it was my goal to personally tell everybody thank you. I think I did, but just in case I missed you, thank you. I appreciated it. Maybe it's that I'm getting old, but I was very emotional. So thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. So now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the why that we're here, while we're listening to today's episode. Okay. With ITNT, the Academy, each month we go with a new theme, and last month, of course, in the Academy and here on the podcast, we talked about you are wanted. Basically, you know, really recognizing that you're wanted by God. You're wanted. There's a person out here in the world who wants you. There's an investor who wants your idea. There are clients who want your business. Like, you're wanted. And sometimes we get caught up in, and you know, we have these moments of feeling like, you know, maybe I'm not wanted. Maybe what I offer is not wanted. Maybe, you know, I ain't wanted, right? Sometimes you just feel like that. And so last month, we just really wanted to attack the notion that we are not wanted and really fully understand that, like, no, sis, bro, you're wanted, okay? So that was all last month, and I'm super excited. On Friday, I joined a friend, Morgan, on her Zoom call where I introduced June's theme, which is, what is our theme? My God, more. Yeah, just it's a one worder, more this month. of June, we're talking about more, 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 more. And so there's so many different ways we can talk about more. And so I just wanted to go ahead and just kind of recap, I guess, what I talked about on that Zoom call. And and I hope that yeah. All right, so more. Have you ever really desired more? Have you just kind of looked at your life, looked at your situation, looked at your wallet, looked at your relationship, looked at your house, looked at your car, just looked around and been like, I want a little more than what I have. Have you ever really looked at yourself sometimes, been like, I feel like I can be a little more than what I'm being right now? More. We just want to talk about more, having more, being more, becoming more, And so in this first episode, where I just really want to, in this first episode, our Bible reference is Samuel, and it's him in 1 Samuel chapter 16. And it's where he goes to, I'm going to summarize as best I can. You can read it for yourself. It's a lot of verses, actually. 1 Samuel chapter 16, I believe it's like verses 1 through 11. So I definitely want to summarize that. But our reference here is Samuel. He's going to Jesse's house to find the king. And so God had already told him, once you get to Jesse's house, one of his sons is who I, have chosen to be the next king and all of that. And so Samuel, he goes on this journey to Jesse's house so he can find the king. And what happens actually, because first of all, Samuel is already going through some things emotionally, because, God had to, at the beginning of the chapter, he had to go ahead and to be like, Samuel, why are you still mourning over Saul? I have rejected him as the king. I need you to get over him, get up, and let's go find the new king, right? And so he's already going through this whole emotional situation because he's been mourning over the king no longer being the king, right? And so sometimes when we're on our way, we're on our journey, we already got stuff going on, right? We already got stuff going on in our minds. We already just kind of, maybe you done lost a friend, or, just going through the stuff that we go through in life. We already got stuff going on. It's just it's no different from the racial injustice that's going on, no different from COVID-19. These are all big, huge issues going on in our society. But understand, this is all on top of the stuff that we already got going on. So you got Samuel with this assignment to go to Jesse's house, and this is on top of the fact that he's already been mourning the fact that Saul is no longer the king. So he already got his whole emotional situation going on, and he gets to Jesse's house. Now we talk about this story a lot because we recognize that here's the moment where David is the one who's been chosen as the king. David is out in the fields working. Jesse then called all his other sons out to possibly be anointed the king, but David is the one the whole time, and he out in the field. So what's going on in these verses, all the guys are coming through, and Samuel, is like, okay, yeah, it's not him. Okay, it's not him. It ain't him. By the time he done went through all the sons that Jesse presented to him, he's like, okay, now God sent me here. He told me to come to Jesse's house to find his son who will be anointed the next king. Why am I not finding the king? So he asks Jesse, yo, are these all your sons? And so Jesse's like, oh, well, yeah, but David, he out in the back, whatever, but it can't be him, clearly. He just completely discredited David. He completely just eliminated the thought of David being the next king, which is why he didn't invite him out to possibly be chosen. And so Samuel just all right, look, I'm not continuing this whole little situation until everybody is out here. And once David come out there, that's when it's okay, no, David is the one. And so he's anointed to be the next king. And so a lot of times we look at this story and it's just basically like we're looking at the fact that like David was overlooked, but he was the chosen one the entire time. And it's such a good story. Like that is such a good like it's so good like to read it like that. But the thing that God really pressed upon my heart was Samuel, and how Samuel already had all this going on, like I just said, or whatever, but he gets here to Jesse's house and it's like, I told you bring all your sons out, but you didn't bring out all your sons. Like you only you brought some of them. So it just kind of took me to the idea of like what happens when you're going to the place God has told you to go. You're doing the things he's telling you to do. You're saying the things he's telling you to say, yet you're not seeing the results that God told you would see. And that was Samuel's story, because he was told, go to Jesse's house, find the king. But yet he had went through all of these guys and none of them were the king. So it's just like, what do you do when you really feel like you're being obedient to God? You really feel like you're, just being obedient, but you're not seeing the results of that obedience. You're not seeing what it is that God has said. And this was Samuel's story. And for a lot of you, for a lot of us, sometimes we have found ourselves in situations where it's like, okay, now God, I know you sent me here. I know you sent me to this place. You sent me to this job. You put me in this relationship. You told me to start this business, but I'm not seeing what you told me I would see when I got here. What's happening, you know? And so if you read the chapters, like I said, I'm summarizing the story, but when you read it yourself, you'll see that like Samuel, when he saw the first son, like because the son, he was handsome, he was tall and everything, Samuel was he was kind of led to believe like, oh, well, he must be the king, right? And so God was like, yeah, no, he's not the king. And God told him like, don't look at his outward appearance. Basically saying like, we see things differently. Like you looking at the outer, but I'm looking at the heart. You know what I'm saying? And so the first thing that I wanted to just really let you know is that when you're in a situation like Samuel, when you're really on your way, trying to do the thing that God has told you to do, trying to fulfill that assignment, the first thing to really understand is that the Lord doesn't always see things the way that we do. So we can't be hasty into thinking that the first thing is going to be the best thing. The first thing is not going to be the best thing all the time. The first thing is not always the best thing. Your first boyfriend might not be your husband. You understand? Your first job might not be your career path. Your first attempt at launching your business might not work, because the first thing is not always the best thing. Now, for those people who the first time it's a charm for them, praise God, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm gaining from this, when I read this, what God really just led me to understand is like the first thing is not always going to be the best thing. When I think about it, the first boy I ever liked, what, girl, ain't no way. He like looking like, going back to the first guy I ever liked, and then looking at me now at 32 years old and looking at him at whatever age he may be at this point in time, like God already knew, like, that's not the man for you, Brittany. But what if I had been hung up on the first guy I ever liked? Like, you got to understand, the first guy I ever liked, this is dating back to like junior high school. So it's just like, sometimes we get caught up in the first thing and thinking that the first thing is the best thing, when that's just simply not the case. My very first job was at Kroger. If you work at Kroger now, that's cool. That's what's up. But I started working at Kroger when I was 17 years old. It wasn't for me to make a career out of Kroger. You know what I'm saying? Because God had more for me to do, and it didn't just require me to be there. So you got to understand, the first thing is not always the best thing. Is the first thing necessary for your journey? Absolutely. Does the first thing teach you something? Yeah, because when Samuel looked at this first son that Jesse presented, it was like, oh, he must be the one, because he looked good, he tall, he this, he that. And God was like, okay, let me stop, let me school you real quick, and let me just let you know that we don't see things differently. You know what I'm saying? You looking at the outer, I look at the inner. So what the first thing that Samuel actually believed would be the best thing. He learned a lesson right there. He learned something from God in like seeing and understanding that, like, okay, well, clearly, like God said, he looking at the inner, I'm looking at the outward. And so he was able, as he continued to look at the rest of the sons, he was able to keep that lesson in mind. So a lot of times the first thing is not the best thing. The first thing is sometimes a lesson for us to learn. Okay. So we have to ask God to help us to really understand, help us to decide, when we see that first thing, like, okay, God, did I get it right the first time? Or are you trying to teach me a lesson with this first thing? So the first thing is not always the best thing. That's the first thing that I want to tell you about this story. The next thing is that we have to be willing to challenge what's being presented to us. We have to be willing to challenge our circumstance, challenge our reality, challenge what we're seeing. Samuel, after going through all the sons that Jesse had brought to him, and Jesse's like, okay, now God told me to come here to find the king, but all of the sons that you have presented to me, I'm not seeing a king amongst any of these. So he was bold enough to ask the question. He was bold enough to say, you got some more sons somewhere? Because these ones that you just showed me, they not it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very bold of him, because first of all, he at Jesse's house. Jesse didn't come to his house. He was at Jesse's house. So he had to be bold enough to say to Jesse, like, I believe that there's more than what you're showing me. I believe that I believe that there's more than what you just showed me. And so I believe in our lives, in our situations, on our jobs, while we're building our businesses and building our brands, and in our relationships, or even as we embark upon new relationships, and on our single journey, or whatever the case may be for you, you have to be willing to say, I believe that there is more. I believe that there's more. Like, I believe that there is a guy who will actually commit. I believe that there is a job that's willing to pay me what I'm worth. I believe that I can someday buy a house, because I don't want to just rent this apartment forever. I believe that there is more. You know what I'm saying? And just because you believe that there's more, it doesn't make you unappreciative of what you already have now, but it keeps you aware of the fact that there is greater for you. And so Samuel, I really believe that he was bold. He was bold enough to say, no, God showed me more. God showed me, he told me that there would be a king here, but these guys are not kings. So no, I'm going to ask you the question of where is it at? Like, there has to be more here. So what's up? And so we have to be bold enough to look at our situation sometime and say, yo, what's up? Because it's supposed to be more here than what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So, and so once Samuel asked Jesse, like, yo, you got some more sons somewhere? And so Jesse's like, oh, well, I mean, it's David, he out in the field or whatever. And so then once he was made aware that there was more, he said to him, okay, well, we're not doing nothing else. I'm not moving. We're not gonna continue this whole little situation until he's here. And so that really just made me believe that sometimes we have to get a little defiant. Like, sometimes we have to get a little stubborn, I guess, in a sense. We have to be willing to say, okay, I'm not moving until I see what was said to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to continue down this road when I know that there is more, and that more is headed my way. And I believe that's what Samuel said. Like, once he found out that there was another son somewhere, he's like, no, I'm going to wait right here until I see it. I'm going to wait right here until he comes. And sometimes we have to position ourselves to wait for the more that we are absolutely sure is headed our way. After we have challenged our situation, I'm like, no, I know good and full well that there is more. I know that God showed me more. I know that he told me there's more. I know that I'm supposed to be experiencing more. And once you're absolutely sure of that, once you have kept your ear to God and you're absolutely fixed on the fact that there is more for you, then you have to be bold enough to continue to wait for that thing, knowing that it's coming. It's hard to wait for something that you're not sure is coming. So it takes a confidence to know what God has said. yeah, you got to get fixed on what God has said. And so that's actually a whole nother lesson, because sometimes we waiting on something that God ain't said. But when you know for a fact that God has said a thing, when you know for a fact that there is more, then you wait for the more. And you should be able to wait well, because you know what God has said. Now, if you don't know what God has said, waiting gonna be very, very, very difficult. You understand what I'm saying? But Samuel here, he knew what God had said. He was confident in the word that God had told him, that the next king was here at Jesse's house. So because of his confidence in the Father, because of his confidence in what God had said to him, he was able to challenge what his reality was. He was able to challenge what he was seeing, and then he was able to wait until he saw what God had said to him. So that's the posture we have to take when it comes to wanting more and believing God for more, and then knowing that we should be experiencing more, knowing that we should be seeing more, knowing that we should be more. Really just understanding that the first time, it's not always going to be the best time. The first thing we see is not always going to be the best thing that we experience. We have to be bold enough, be willing to challenge what we see and be like, ain't there supposed to be more? And then beyond that, once we're absolutely sure of what God has said, then we have to be willing to wait for what God has said. And so a lot of times we forfeit our more because we're unwilling to wait for it. We forfeit it because we really don't know if God said it. We're not sure that God has spoken to us. We're not sure that he said what we thought he said. And so we have to be sure about what God has said. How do you be sure about what God has said? You got to stay in his face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even sit here and act like I'm just poster child of the best Christian or anything like that, but it's easy to know that God has spoken to you and what he has said when you talk to him. Sometimes it's like, how do you know God is talking to me? How do you know? But it's just like, just get in his face a little bit. It doesn't take you lighting a bunch of candles and, oh, I got to speak in tongues before he'll talk to me. But sometimes if you just position yourself in silence for a while, you'll just hear them. And I really, with my grandma, when we used to talk, I would ask her certain things and she'll like hit me with the line like, you'll know. And I hated that, because I'd be like, Grandma, if you don't give me a concrete answer, girl. But she would just say, you will know. And when God is speaking to you, but you have to position yourself in a way that you can hear him. That might mean turning off the TV. That might mean not listening to music. It might mean listening to music. It might mean turning on the TV. But you have to feel in your gut. You have to feel in your body what you need to be doing. And then you'll just know when God speaks to you. It'll be a conversation like no other. It will be an assurance like no other. You know what I mean? So that's possibly something we can get into later, about God talking to you and what that looks like and what that feels like. If anybody has any more questions about that particular topic, feel free to email me, and we can kind of go into that some more personally. Or if you have maybe a better way of explaining it than what I just tried to do, email me too, and I can, definitely see what you're talking about, because I think that's something that most people struggle with, and I don't ever want to just like rattle off a bunch of instructions without giving you a how, so but when it comes down to wanting more, trying to be more, hope, just praying for more and expecting more, God desires for you to have great things. He wants us to live an abundant life. So it's just like, when you not living an abundant life, you have to know like there's more for me. And even when you get to a good comfortable place, there's still more, you know what I'm saying? So we're always in a constant, I believe, evolution. So it's just like there's always like, once you get to one level, then it's like, okay, I can go higher than this. So we have to always just be in a state of expectancy of wanting to experience more, and we have to hear from God so we can know what that more is. Okay, so that's the episode today, guys. Yeah, that is the episode. I pray that makes sense to you. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can email me itmt@brittneyreal.com. That's BRITTNEYREEL ITMT@brittneyreal.com. Send me an email. Maybe we can chat some more about it. If you follow me on social media, just hit me in the DM if you want to go a little further into this dialogue, and we can. But yeah, that's what it is. Guess what, guys? On next Monday, we'll be celebrating a year of Real Talk Today. Can you believe it? Like, I feel like I want to insert some like some claps or some screams or something like that. No. Okay. Anyway, but like, but seriously, we'll be celebrating 1 year of Real Talk Today, and I'm super excited about that. If y'all have followed this podcast since it came out, you already know that I was, first of all, shaky about putting it out because I was like, who gonna listen to this? Number two, you know that I was surprised with the release on how it charted on Apple Podcasts, and I was just like very tripped out about that because like I said, I was scared to even do it. But this has been really good, and it's been such a great form of release for me. I don't know if, like, I guess I do the episodes for y'all, but at the same time I do them for myself. Like, it gives me an avenue to really just say what's on my heart and say what's on my mind, and a girl like me, I need that. So I thank y'all for just sticking with me for this year. I have definitely had some changes. I started recording through my phone in my closet for a while. Then I was like experimenting with like music tracks, and then like it's been a thing, and y'all have been right there with me. If the sound has been good, if the sound has been bad, so I appreciate you guys, and so I'm super excited. I'm super grateful, and yeah, next Monday will be a year of Real Talk Today, and so I'm excited. I'm putting together a super special episode. It may be one, it may be two. I'm not really sure yet. Me and my sister were talking about how I want to do it, and so I'm actually still trying to figure that out. Y'all know I be saying one thing one day, the next day it change, because I believe in changing my mind. So yeah, but I'm excited, I'm grateful, and yeah, next week, I know no matter what I do, it's going to be cute, it's going to be special, because it is the 1 year, and I just cannot believe it. I'm excited. So anywho, that's what it is on today. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you're loved, you're chosen, you're beautiful, you're enough. I think you're kind of dope too. And that's it for today. I will talk to you guys on next week. Bye.
Thank you for tuning into Real Talk Today with another moment in the meantime. To stay connected with Be Real and all things ITMT, please visit her website at www.brittneyreal.com and subscribe to her email list. Follow her on Instagram at b.real, REEL, or like her Facebook page at Brittney L. Real. Until next week, remember that you're loved, chosen, beautiful, and enough.